Time now for possibly the most important chord of them all. What happens if you take a major 7 chord and lower the 7th half a step? It sounds complicated, it isn't. You get a chord that still has a major 3rd, but a minor 7. Let's take the case of C. C, major 3rd, 5th, minor 7, okay? Root, major 3rd, 5th, and minor 7th. This is called dominant 7th, or simply 7th. Does it sound familiar? Well, I bet this is the chord of the blues, and it is absolutely an essential chord. I would say pivotal, for reasons that will soon become clearer. I'm sure you're already familiar with the most common shape of a 7th chord with the root on the A string, as we use it in blues all the time. You remember we saw this in the last lesson. We said this is a D7-9 chord. You have the root, the major 3rd, the 7 and the 9th. And we also said in the previous lesson that the shape is very similar to the D minor 9. Okay, and what all that changes is the 3rd that goes from major to minor. D7, 9, you can play this shape whenever you see a 7 chord in the chart. Here again, little practical trick: strum or pluck or pick different sets of strings. You use the same shape, the fingering might be a little different, but the chord is exactly the same, and it sounds different and it gives movement. Right? You're still playing a D7/9, but with a different set of strings. Now, if we stay for a moment with this particular shape, and let's see what happens if you remember this note here is the 9th, okay? What happens if I raise that 9th? Ha! You recognize that immediately. That's the Jimi Hendrix chord, isn't it? This is a D7 sharp 9, and it's used a lot in jazz because it has a wish, a tendency, a need to resolve. Let's move up to an E7-9 and play that vamp, that moon dance vamp again, and see that resolution. I so much need to go back here. That's the tension, the drive towards resolution. Listen. Really, I'm automatically led towards starting again with the A minor. So this, with the raised 9th, this is a D7 sharp 9, and we just played an E7 sharp 9. Back to our fundamental shape of D7-9. What happens if I lower the 9th instead of raising it? You get another very jazzy sounding chord, okay? So you have basically, by just moving one note, D7 sharp 9, D7-9 that you play every day, and D7 flat 9. Now let's move to the dominant 7 shape you want to use with the root on the bottom E string. As we keep saying, there's nothing wrong with the shape you would normally play here, but you will agree with me that this sounds richer, nicer, more lush. Let's look at the intervals. You have the root, that's a B flat, a minor 7, the major 3rd, you see the octave here, root, major third in the octave, so in the shape again, root, minor 7th, 3rd and 13th. This is what gives the chord this beautiful, jazzy, lush sound. And you can play these chords whenever see a 7th chord in the shape, in the chart. And exactly as we said for this shape moving to here, same chord with slightly different fingering. In the case we're on B flat 13 here, and you can play this shape, which is the same chord with slightly different fingering, and it sounds a little different and it gives a good movement. Now let's play some music and see how we can practice at the same time these chord shapes, a little bit of soloing using pentatonic scale, and general hand coordination and musicality. And we use a vamp, which I have used a few times in the last few lessons, which has moves between two chords with a rhythm that's particular of the jazz standard Killer Joe. And Killer Joe has an A part, a verse part, that all it does is moving between C13 and B flat 13 with a groove, you know, a simple groove. And as we said, we can already just with the groove you can practice targeting. You can practice making different chord tones ring. I've just done it because it's so automatic for me, and hardly ever play the same chord shape or the same set of strings twice. You see, my left hand doesn't move, is either the plucking or strumming hand that moves and makes this this particular note ring. Okay, you can have a lot of fun and suitably impress your friends just playing this vamp and interspersing the chords with bits of soloing using just the C pentatonic scale. It goes something like this.